Ooh, man, oh man, oh man. As of present, you getting nothing but Drayton, 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 and more Drayton. And this is officially off the rim.
Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. Cause I'm tryna ball out. Come on if you bout it. But you better keep up. I'm not slowing down. I swear they gon' see us. Ain't no way around it.
In the 2026 SWBA draft, the Utah Jazz select Justin Bell out of Villanova. You draft Marion Sherwood. You draft Jalen Sano in 25. You get another good cornerstone to build right around him. I think Justin Bell's the closest player you're going to find to KD in this draft, Coach Drayton. I think that it's you can't really go wrong with a guy like that. He's got that fantastic skill set as a scorer. He was great as a freshman. I think that he is the best player in the country and the Naismith favorite. So there's my reasoning for this one.
With the second pick, the Washington Wizards are going to select Jafet Towns out of Missouri. The reason I went with him over a lot of the other guys is they needed a guard. They already have wing. What we assume is going to be solidified with Belil Koulibaly, Keyshawn George. If you go down to the bigs, you already got Alex Sarr. Uh, so you already have some depth pieces there. And you don't really have it at guard. I mean, you have Bub Carrington and Belil can also play the shooting guard. So you have two people that can really play guard. I would have went center, but I don't think there are any centers to really go for at the second pick. And then even last year, you selected Nat Hawkins, who, if he has a big year, you don't need to take another wing, as well as taking who was it? Nat Hawkins and oh no, Caden Ship is who I'm thinking about having a big year. So you already got Caden Ship and Nat Hawkins to go on the wings. So I think bringing in Jafet can either run the one or the two and play off of Bub, or you can have Bub play the two and have Jafet control the ball. I think you just needed to bring a guard in there. It was either guard or center. That was it. So I just chose the best guard available, in my opinion.
With the third overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Arthur Lattimore from Texas. Now, we're talking about a team that's truly missing that interior presence. They gave up Mark Williams in a trade. They don't necessarily have somebody who can dominate on the interior. And as good as Miles Bridges is, he's one incident away from never playing another game of professional basketball, truth be told. I think Arthur Lattimore gives you the ability to score inside the arc. He's strong, he's athletic, he's fast. He's kind of like the finishing piece to finally put Charlotte back in the middle of the pack. Does he make them a contender? Probably not. But with CKC, LaMelo Ball, and the other pieces that they have, I think he complements them perfectly and adds that extra oomph to get them going.
The fourth pick in the 2026 WBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks via the New Orleans Pelicans from that crazy draft day trade select Nas Hall out of Kansas. I'm not sure how much Trae Young really factors into this team's long-term plans. He's a bit undersized. I think you have a chance to draft a guy like Nas Hall. You take it. He is also a fantastic complement for a guy like Trae Young too. He's a guy who can who can play the two and then move to the point guard position once Trae Young is traded or what have you. Nas Hall's got a lot of versatility. I love what he did at Kansas. Was the Big 12 Player of the Year at 18 years old. It's kind of hard to look past that. I'm kind of surprised that Jafet Towns and Arthur Lattimore went over this guy because I was between and him and Justin Bell at number one for the Jazz. So this pick was easy to make, and I think that Nas Hall is a franchise cornerstone for a Hawks team that looks completely revitalized.
With this fifth pick, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to select D'Angelo Jordan out of Illinois. So the stronger get stronger. D'Angelo Jordan can pretty much do everything on the court. Insane potential. I just think with the fifth pick, OKC, as they just won the championship, go. I'm not going to predict that they're going to win the championship next year, but just pick the most talented person. And as of right now, the most talented person on the board would have been D'Angelo Jordan. And you can slide him in two or three, four if you want to go small ball four. But you already have so much depth on this team that either you can use him and have 4 years on his contract and another great person with great potential, seeing how he can grow. Maybe he can be a third option in the future, or maybe you use him as a bargaining chip to get another player in there that you need. I mean, you also could have went center as Hartenstein's contract is up at the end of the year after this one. You could have went center to prepare for that, but I didn't see a center that I loved this early in the draft, especially with D'Angelo Jordan sitting on the board. He just gives you everything. He can inside the 3-point line, he can make almost every shot, and then at the 3-point line, he could work on it, but he's not a bad 3-point shooter either. He also defends very well. So really, a pick where the richer are getting richer.
With the sixth overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Lace Darius Outlaw, University of Memphis. I mean, Cam Thomas is probably not the long-term solution. D'Angelo Russell's gone. A lot of the guards that we drafted don't really have the ability to play make. So you get somebody who is up there as far as playmaking goes, but definitely can get his own shots, score his own baskets, and you get somebody who can kind of be a leader. This is a guy who, in my personal opinion, has fallen flat in bigger games, but even if that's the case, this is somebody that, with all the pieces that you draft last year, he kind of is the icing on the cake. Now, most people would have expected for me to take a big or somebody along those lines, but I think Lace Darius fits the team perfectly. And it's just me being a Brooklyn Nets homer, but he's the icing on the cake.
With the seventh pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Corey Yams, big man out of Arizona. Lace Darius Outlaw over this guy, Drayton? Are you kidding me? Corey Yams is the best center in SimWorld U. He's a beast down low, double-double machine. Averaged 14 and 7 as a freshman for Arizona. And that was on limited usage. I think he's only getting more usage in year two under Tommy Lloyd for the Wildcats. They reached the grade 8. He was fantastic. He outplayed Lamarian Sherwood in hoops area. This guy's an absolute freaking dog. He plays tough, plays hard, down low, and the Raptors, they need a big guy to complement this Scotty Barnes, Brandon Ingram, this big core that they really have. Now Quincy Henderson, where I think that a guy like, with the toughness of a guy like Corey Yams and what he can do as a rim protector and as a defender just cannot be understated.
With the eighth pick, the San Antonio Spurs are going to select Garrett Hart out of Florida State. So let's run through this. De'Aaron Fox is off the books next year. Let's say they don't resign him. They still have David Vassell, Wimby, Dylan Harper, Donald Affetti, Stephon Castle, and Keldon Johnson still. They're young and they just have so much talent that the only position I really have them missing is either someone to slide at the 4 or someone to play the 5 next to Wimby. So I just brought in Garrett Hart because I just think that's the only roster spot they're missing. And after they get that, they're set for the next couple years. Garrett Hart he's going to give you good defense. He's a good rebounder. And then on the other end, he's a good post up player. And even without the ball, he's not a guy that's going to demand the ball a lot, especially if you're winning. Just knowing him as his personality. If you're winning, he's not going to sit there and just complain about how he's not getting the ball. He understands that this ship is going to run through Victor Wembanyama and Dylan Harper. And so I just think this gives them much needed depth at that 4 spot because you still have Sohan, who is a good player, but I think Garrett Hart's potential is way more than Jeremy Sohan.
With the ninth overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Portland Trailblazers select Fareed Redmond, University of Connecticut. I mean, as far as this team goes, they don't really have a point guard because I doubt Drew Holiday stays long term. Shooting guard is kind of a question. I mean, Scoot Henderson can be slotted at the one or the two. And then they drafted Donta Walker. All right, so this team needs an additional wing player. You get that and more from Fareed Redmond. You get somebody who can score the three, who can shoot from mid range, who can finish through contact. You kind of get a do it all combo guard wing. He's one of those tweeners, and at 6'6", 6'7", 198 pounds, I think you can say confidently that he can play the 1, 2, or 3 need be. I mean, via my own bias, I coached the kid, and I think he's an amazing athlete and definitely has the spark to take this team to the next level.
With the 10th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Orlando Magic select Kadarius Loftus, guard out of Louisville. Junior stayed back for another year. It pays off for him. He goes in the lottery. He has that LeGerald Carroll type rise. He's a fantastic scorer, shooter, guy that can start immediately for the Magic and come off the bench. But that team was dead last in the SWBA from beyond the arc, and they need guys that can kind of light it up from deep, can kind of create around Paolo, Franz, Jalen Suggs. They brought in Desmond Bane. They still need more shooting. And I think a guy like this could be a fantastic sixth man. Like what you can get out of Kadarius Loftus as a spark plug sixth man, as a shooter for a Magic team that needs so much of it. I think that this is a fantastic fit, and they're a team that's looking to compete now. So I think they're trying to take a more experienced prospect compared to some of these other teams at the top.
With the 11th pick out of SMU, the Miami Heat are taking Barkley James. I think he's an excellent 3-point shooter, good off the dribble, good off ball. I think they use Barkley to get off of Tyler Hero. I think you still wait out his contract. I think you have next year will be Tyler Hero's last year, or the year after this one will be Tyler Hero's last year of his contract. I think you used Barkley James to sit under Tyler Hero, learn a little bit, and then take the reins in his second year as a second-year player. He's amazing offensively. The Heat have no real direction right now. They have some good players, but no real direction. They have Jaime Jaquez, uh, Kel El Ware, and Bam. So like 3 through 5, they have some good players. 1 and 2, for some reason, they just don't have anybody to really take over a game, especially scoring. Bam can do it, but he's usually not aggressive enough to do it. So I think Barkley in his second year wouldn't have a problem coming in and trying to be a star. Even if he doesn't get to that star role, he's a deadly 3-point shooter from outside. So even if he isn't a star, he's a very valuable player just because he shoots like 40+% from three. And the 3-point line isn't changing. He just needs to do it on a bigger stage.
With the 12th overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Kasim Porter Jr., University of North Carolina. I mean, Kyrie slotted at the 2 more often than not. Cooper Flag is at the 3. Anthony Davis is at the 4. The missing piece to this perfect team is somebody who's willing to not take all the shots and just willing to play make. You get that in arguably the best playmaker in this draft class. As far as upside and potential goes, he's also one of those guys. In prep, we seen him struggle shooting from the 3. In college, we seen his 3-game evolve. In prep, we seen him struggle with certain times with finishing. And in college, we seen him finish well. I think he's one of those guys that keeps taking those leaps and bounds and is willing to do whatever necessary to put his team in a place to win. Now, as far as it goes, if they do make this selection, I think he fits the team perfectly.
With 13th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Vincent Magic, point guard out of Texas. Let's put it simply here, Drayton, Joyner. The Bulls need someone to put butts in seats. They need someone to help the fan base be re-energized in that team. They've been mediocre for so long now, it feels like. They got Carl Holmes. I love that piece. But they need a point guard of the future. They just traded Alonzo Ball, and I'm not super bullish on a guy like Josh Giddey, excuse me. And I love Vincent Magic. I think he's the closest that Bulls fans will ever get to seeing a guy like young D Rose again, with that athleticism, with that defense, with that playmaking. He is going to be a star in the pros, and I think Bulls fans are going to embrace him for being that Westbrook, Derrick Rose type mold, and to be the guy to kind of bring Bulls basketball back to being exciting. I think that he's going to have a fantastic sophomore season.
With the 14th pick, the Sacramento Kings are going to take Jason Tada out of the University of California. So the thing is here, he's one of the better players on the board. Probably could win a couple other options, but he's one of the better players on the board. And they have two wings over there that he can sit and learn under. With DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, Jason Tada is already a very excellent scorer. Now he can go into the league with two other very excellent scores and learn for a year, maybe no, probably not two, but a year or two, and just learn under those guys, get his reps under him, and then take over. Because that team has they don't have much future talent as far as players that are going to be on their roster 3-4 years from now, nor do they have great young talent. I mean, there's some guys here, but it's not amazing. I mean, they have Keegan Murray, who I really like, but other than that, they have a lot of their players are 28 and older. They're probably not going to be on the team in 3 years. So this is his time to learn and really take reins of this team. Make them build around you. Make them build around you once Zach and DeMar leave, or even before they leave. Start the process of building around Jason Todd because he can get to being a franchise player, but I think he will need a little bit more work than the guys at the top of the draft.
With the 15th overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select the phenomenal one, Lorenzo Phenom, Michigan University. I mean, we're talking about somebody whose game just lauds upside. I mean, the Hawks interior has been weak for as long as I can remember, and this is their chance to go in that direction of finally having a strong interior presence. Think back to when they had that Al Horford team and they were the number one team in the East. This kind of brings them back into that same fold. Lorenzo Phenom's ability to score inside, outside, left, right, up, down. The guy's kind of like a cheat code when he's inside of the arc. I mean, I know traditional pro basketball has moved away from it, but I think he's somebody who can excel when it comes to scoring inside of the arc, and he's going to make the game a lot easier for Trae Young and Naz Hall.
16th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, way too early mock draft. Phoenix Suns grab another 5-star recruit in Gonzaga's Damian Luffy. I was very high on Caden Shipp, as a lot of you know, and Damian Luffy is going to be that guy replacing him in Spokane. He needs to improve as a shooter, but it's clear to see that the Suns aren't scared of taking chances on guys who can't shoot. They think that'll come along. With Damian Luffy, similar to a guy like Ryan Dunn, who they drafted 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And the Suns are in a spot where they need a guy who's got a lot of upside and a lot of athleticism, and Damian Luffy that team's in a weird spot right now, and Damian Luffy will probably be could be a day one starter for them on the wing next to Devin Booker, and I like him a hell of a lot more than Jalen Green. I think he's a fantastic fit for what they're building. Him and LaGerald Carroll on the wing next to Devin Booker at point guard. Sign me up.
With the 17th pick, the Detroit Pistons select Suno Choppa out of Oklahoma. Now, this is a kid with plenty of potential. He does almost everything on the basketball court. He's shooting that from three. He's not the best, but he shoots well inside the arc. He defends. He plays. Can't say that, but he plays his butt off. He plays his butt off and he works very hard. And I think Detroit can use that. It's just getting more young talent in this door to mesh with uh Cade and company. I mean, you can have a team of Cunningham, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson, Suno, and Jalen Duren. That's great young talent that if they can learn together and mesh well, they sky's the limit for them. Like they do in even if they don't have Jaden Ivey next year because he is coming off his contract. If they want to give up on Jaden Ivey, they still can to replace him with Suno. Like they didn't get a top draft pick this year, but next year that's your time to take your second star. Because I think Jaden Ivey's a good player, but I don't know if he's that second star that Suno can be. That that's all. I just don't think he's the second star that Suno can be, and I think Suno's potential is just way higher than almost everybody else on their roster, not named Cade Cunningham and maybe Asar Thompson. On the offensive end, yes, Asar, but defensive end, no.
With the 18th overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Shea King, a la G League Ignite St. John's. I mean, we're talking about somebody who, as far as replacing Dame goes, I think this is as far as a one-to-one that you can get. I mean, skill set wise, a great ability to attack downhill, court vision, the ability to lead a team. I mean, and then you get him on a rookie deal. Yes, he is older, but we know for a fact that he can compete with the best of them because he was thriving in the Ignite before they defuncted that program. He comes to St. John's and immediately lights it up, and they have a little decent run. If you're asking me, he got coached by one of the best coaches of all time in college basketball history, in Rick Pitino, and then he comes back an additional year to get more film to grow even more as a guard, and now we get to see him take basketball on its biggest stage.
With the 19th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Benari James, sophomore point guard out of Davidson. And I know a lot of you are probably surprised to see Benari James still on the board at this point, but he needs another year of college to kind of lift his stock up. I think he could go as high as the top 10 or the lottery, but right now, he showed flashes in his freshman season at Davidson, but it's the Ireland early complex where him playing at a smaller school is going to end up hurting him. But he's a great scorer, good shooter. I like him as a backup to Ja Morant. And I like him to potentially slot in at the two and maybe even become their point guard of the future should anything happen to Ja Morant, should they trade him. I really like that fit. He's a guy that can certainly shoot, and we know they lost a lot of that by trading Desmond Bane. So the Grizzlies bring in a guy who's going to play tough, going to play hard in Benari James, and I think he's probably one of the more slept on guys in a very deep class.
And with the 20th pick, the Golden State Warriors select Ethan Letterman Jr. out of Syracuse. Now, this is probably one of the easier picks I had today. He he shoots lights out from three. He plays off ball very well. Does that sound like anybody else early in their career? Stephen Curry. He gets to learn under Stephen Curry, somebody that does what he does at an extremely high level. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Stephen Curry, but the skills to be the next Steph are there. Is he going to get to that superstar level where he's Steph? Probably not. But if he can just be a just a second, third option, that's good value at number 20, especially for somebody that's shooting. I think I think when I checked it, it was 45% from three or something like that. Like he's a crazy 3-point shooter, and that was on a Creighton team that wasn't great this year either. Like if he can get on a team where you just have a lot more, a lot better, lot more together offense, I think he'll be even better. Or a team that has another star player, so he gets that second defender where he doesn't even get all the attention. He's just running around, coming off of down screens and shooting the ball off a three. The same thing Curry does, the same thing Curry get level. He helped Curry get to. He can help Ethan get somewhat to that, if not very close.
With the 21st overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Akeem Young, Louisiana State University. I mean, how long is Pepe Le Pew going to be the person that protects the paint for the Timberwolves before they realize that he's not the answer? They need an interior paint presence that can defend and score, and Akeem Young's going to give you that. I mean, there's not much else to this pick outside of that. He gives their offense another dimension, along with still being able to protect the paint like they want Pepe Le Pew to do. It's just that simple.
The 22nd pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the reigning SWBA champions, select Cam Jones out of SMU. I don't know how much longer Isaiah Joe is going to be in OKC. And when you got guys like Shea, like Jalen Williams, like Chet Holmgren, you want to surround them with a bona fide sniper. And straight up, that's what Cam Jones is. He's from Texas. He's from the South. He's a guy that'll fit with any contending team and doesn't have to play 30, 35 minutes a game to make a strong impact. They can play him 25 minutes a game or 20 minutes a game off the bench, and he'll come into the game and do exactly what you're drafting him to do, and that's hit threes. And this is a pick that's going to help the Thunder stay on top and maintain that really, really strong depth.
And with the 23rd pick, the Indiana Pacers select Aaron Lovejoy out of Villanova. This is the only center on their roster right now is Tony Bradley. They selected one this year, so there's another one, but they selected him at number 54, Demonte Claudio. So obviously they aren't expecting Demonte Claudio to be one of their starters for the next several years if you're selecting him at the end of the second round. You have no center on your roster, really. You let Miles Turner walk, so get somebody who does a little bit of what Miles Turner does. Rebound and play excellent defense. Now on the offensive end, Aaron Lovejoy is not Miles Turner. He's not shooting a bunch of threes. Nor can't. I mean, I won't say he can't. His stats don't say that, but can he develop it at some point? Maybe. Miles Turner did. But as of right now, he's still a good offensive player, but he's not a great offensive player. But you do replace that defense and you replace that rebound and that Miles Turner's value really brought you. Because when Tyrese gets back, when you have Pascal, Andrew Nembhard, what's our boy's name? Benedict Mathurin and TJ McConnell, you don't need Aaron Lovejoy to come in and be your sixth option on offense. I mean, he can develop it and he's still a decent scorer, but you really just need the interior presence on defense because as of right now, you're not going to have it. And that finals run that you made is just going to be a fluke if you don't replace what Turner did for you on the defensive end.
With the 24th overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Myjai Williams, Purdue University. I mean, 6'7" guard, 6'7" wing, if you want to be honest. Has played point guard, has played shooting guard, has played small forward, kind of a do-it-all player. Has two-way ability. I think he only falls this far in the draft because ultimately Purdue isn't being ran through him. It's through Pierre Dupont. And while he's a great shooter, can finish inside, there are knocks on Myjai's game. He has a tendency to only go left because he's left-handed. He doesn't always finish through contact, definitely sometimes over dribbles, and that's why he fell in the draft. There's the small knocks in his game can be considered big knocks at the next level.
With the 25th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Jarrell Beauchamp out of UNLV. No Nat Hawkins for the Running Rebels. Jarrell Beauchamp is running the show there with Sky Durant now, and he's a good shooter. I really liked what he did as a freshman, and I think that this is a guy that's going underrated. I get why people could be saying that I can't believe he didn't go Royce Anderson here. I think he's the better talent, but I think Jarrell Beauchamp is the better shooter and a better fit for what JJ Redick likes in LA. He's a guy that really likes toughness and really likes guys that can kind of stretch the floor, especially around LeBron. I like him as a backup to Luka and as a guy that could potentially work his way into a larger role. 25 or the late first round feels like his floor. Jarrell Beauchamp, and I'm very high on him, higher than most. With the 26th pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, my New York Knicks select Jay Laster, Unk out of Georgetown, the forward. He's got two-way potential, and the Knicks got Mikal Bridges. They got OG Anunoby. They need guys that can add some depth, that can play both sides of the floor well, can kind of complement the foundation that Mike Brown will be adopting in New York. And Jay Laster, that's an East Coast guy. He's been kind of local playing at Georgetown, and I really like his potential to develop into a very strong two-way wing, whether that's in a large role or a small role. I think the Knicks kind of strike gold with this pick. Did not expect him to be there. You saw that player flash in games. You saw him be the reason they beat Villanova 3 times in his freshman season. Jay Laster, no joke.
With the 27th overall pick in the 2026 SWBA draft, the Oklahoma City Thunder select Sky Durant, UNLV. I mean, we're talking about a team that's currently trying to draft Project Kevin Durant with D'Angelo Jordan, with Sky Durant, and then they added a shooter in Cam Jones. I think as far as it goes, is drafting the best available talent. I kind of think that's OKC's thing, that you necessarily aren't looking for somebody to fill in a slot for an already championship team, but if you do find the best available talent in the current draft at the spot that you're at, that's kind of how you do it. Sky Durant's had some injury problems. He had them in prep. He's had them in college. So it's why he's going to fall on a lot of draft boards. But there's not a lot of 6'10 shooters and wing scorers like him who pretty much imitate Kevin Durant's game. Plain and simple.
And with the 28th pick, the Boston Celtics select Royce Anderson out of Georgia. Honestly, I'm surprised he fell that this far. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe the Coach Drayton and JK just don't have the same mindset I do about Royce at this point in his career. But I think he's a very excellent player. I think he probably should have went lottery, and honestly, I probably forgot him coming down the list until now. But with how the Celtics are trying to force themselves to get under the second apron, it might not be out of the realm of possibility that they get rid of Jalen Brown to try and get under the second apron with him and Jason Tatum's contracts coming up, or not coming up, but reaching $60 million in the next 2 years. Royce Anderson is an excellent scorer over there at Georgia, and can be even better if he's not the second option. And if they can find a way to keep Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, he's an amazing player to come off your bench and give you some scoring. It's like, just imagine him in that Jordan Poole role where he can come off the bench and give you some good buckets, and then your stars come back in. Now, with these players at the Celtics and the coach, you're going to have to learn to play defense. They switch everything over here. So you're going to have to learn to play a little bit better defense. But at the end of the day, the potential is really why I'm drafting him. The potential here is amazing, especially at pick 28. There's just too much potential to keep letting him fall. And with the 29th pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers pick Quan Singleton out of Creighton. I don't want to make this pick because I'm riding with my boy Mark. I don't agree with what he said last week or this week, whenever it was. I don't agree with it, but he is talented. He's talented on both ends of the floor. I think he can be a good piece on this Cleveland team who is honestly keeping all of their main guys and even some of their bench guys. They're keeping a lot of players. And I think he can be one of those bench players that just comes in, can give you great effort on defense, give you some buckets, and just help this team get even better by letting them mold with even younger players. Because they have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and those guys are under contract for years to come. Still got DeAndre Hunter. Still got Dean Wade is coming back and Max Strus, who were y'all might not know the names, but they were a lot. They meant a lot to that team last year. And they got Lonzo Ball coming in, so they got a lot of. They got some defense, and they got good bucket getters. But I don't think they got that more consistent bucket getter off the bench. Max Strus and Dean Wade does it a little bit, but they don't do it on a night-to-night basis. I think Quan can give you good bench production on a night-to-night basis, scoring-wise. Also, he got, I think, high one, so maybe 1.5 more or more steals a game. So he's giving you effort on defense too, playing the passing lanes and kicking people pockets.
With the 30th and final pick in the first round of the 2026 SWBA draft, the Washington Wizards select Mark Chisholm, University of Syracuse. I mean, I know that people are thinking that this is bias and this is me moving the needle, but as far as you ask me, this is probably the best defender in the country. Don't take my word for it. Take what everybody else says. I mean, the Wizards have always been lacking defense. Since the Gilbert Arenas days, they've never been a strong defensive team. Mark Chisholm gives them that. I think his shot's coming along. He's definitely somebody who's willing to work and take that extra step to become whatever a team needs. I think he can become one of those elite 3-and-D wings. When I think of him, I think OG Anunoby, guys like that, where they're so good on defense that you forget how efficient they can be on offense. He's already a super athlete, and now you just add a shot.
Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. Cause I'm tryna ball out. Come on if you bout it. But you better keep up. I'm not slowing down. I swear they gon' see us. Ain't no way around it.